The opening of this guide immediately sets a relatable tone, addressing frustration with past failures and the overwhelming market of weight loss products. But then it states, don't make your weight loss more complicated than it is. Is this perhaps a simplification itself, given the complexities of human physiology and behavior?
An astute observation. The text attempts to both empathize with the reader's struggles and offer a reassuringly simple solution. While the sentiment, don't overcomplicate it, has merit in cutting through market noise, it risks minimizing the very real, often multifactorial challenges individuals face. The promise of a way that is universally accessible, even with busy lifestyles, might inadvertently set up another cycle of frustration if the path isn't as straightforward as implied. It's a classic rhetorical move: acknowledge pain, then promise relief.
Moving to why we gain weight, the text correctly identifies caloric imbalance, genetics, metabolic rate, eating patterns, portion sizes, and lack of exercise. Is this adequately nuanced, or could it be misread as downplaying the significant role genetics can play for some individuals?
The text grapples with a common dilemma: how to acknowledge genetic influence without rendering individuals feeling helpless. It strikes a balance by emphasizing that genetics provide a tendency, not a destiny, which is scientifically sound. Both claims warrant closer examination. The fist-size analogy is a mnemonic, a simplified visual aid, but it's not a precise physiological measurement. Stomach capacity varies, and more importantly, satiety is influenced by nutrient density, fiber, and protein, not merely volume. As for the several small meals a day recommendation, this has been a long-standing dietary mantra, but recent research, particularly around intermittent fasting, suggests that fewer, larger meals can be equally effective, if not more so, for some individuals in terms of weight management and metabolic health. The text presents it as almost axiomatic, overlooking the growing body of evidence for alternative eating patterns. It reflects a traditional viewpoint that hasn't fully integrated newer perspectives. While it rightly cautions against extreme measures, does it perhaps inadvertently discourage individuals from disciplined approaches like calorie tracking or legitimate, evidence-based diets that might involve specific food group restrictions, which some people find effective?
This section presents a tension between advising against harmful extremes and endorsing practical, sustainable strategies. The critique of fad diets and dangerous calorie restriction is entirely justified. However, the blanked dismissal of counting calories as merely bothersome overlooks its utility as an educational tool for portion awareness and energy balance, especially when starting a weight loss journey. Similarly, while extreme food group elimination is problematic, some well-researched dietary patterns, like ketogenic or certain plant-based diets, do involve significant restrictions, but can be nutritionally sound and highly effective for specific individuals, particularly when medically supervised. The text might be overcorrecting, painting all forms of strict dietary adherence with too broad a brush, potentially dissuading those who could benefit from a structured, albeit careful, approach.
This was a common recommendation decades ago. Does this figure align with contemporary nutritional understanding, especially considering the different types of fats and evolving research on macronutrient ratios? This is a critical point that reveals the text's potential reliance on outdated dietary guidelines. The no more than 30% of calories from fat recommendation emerged from the low-fat craze of the 1980s and 90s, driven by concerns over heart disease. However, subsequent research has dramatically shifted our understanding. We now know that the type of fat is far more important than the total percentage. Healthy fats, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats found in avocados, nuts, seeds, and olive oil are crucial for health and satiety and can easily comprise more than 30% of daily calories in a healthy diet. Conversely, unhealthy trans fats and excessive saturated fats remain problematic. Adhering rigidly to a 30% fat ceiling might lead to diets that are unsatisfying or inadvertently push individuals towards high-carbohydrate, low-fat processed foods, which are often detrimental to weight loss and overall health.
The document recommends approaching a therapist for emotional eating, a dietitian for food plans, and a physical trainer for exercise. Is this accurate? And what's the distinction between a dietitian and a nutritionist, a term often used more loosely?
This is an important clarification. The statement about dietitians needing a medical license is misleading. This highlights a common logical leap in self-help literature. While scheduling certainly facilitates adherence and consistency, which are undoubtedly crucial for weight loss, the schedule itself isn't the direct causal agent. It's the action taken within that schedule, driven by discipline, motivation, and conscious effort, that yields results. The schedule is a powerful organizational tool, a framework for good habits.
But someone could have a meticulously planned schedule and still fail if they lack the internal drive or face insurmountable external barriers. It's a supportive structure, not a magic bullet that inherently makes you lose more weight.
The guide has a strong weight loss, what you should never do section, warning against starvation diets, unsafe supplements, detoxes, purging, obsessive exercise, and drug/tobacco use. It also advises against cutting daily calories below 1,200. This is generally sound advice, but again, the fasting advice raises an eyebrow. How does the firm "never starve yourself" fast integrate with modern understandings of intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating, which have shown benefits for some?
This section is robust in its warnings against genuinely harmful practices, and the caution regarding cutting calories below 1,200 is generally a safe guideline for ensuring nutrient adequacy for most adults. However, the instruction "never fast" creates a conflict with evolving scientific understanding. The text seems to conflate dangerous, prolonged starvation with structured, short-term fasting protocols like intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating. These latter approaches, when implemented safely and appropriately, are not about starving yourself, but rather about controlling when you eat, often within a caloric deficit, and have demonstrated benefits for weight management and metabolic health in numerous studies. The guide's broad dismissal misses this important distinction and prevents it from offering a more contemporary and nuanced perspective on eating patterns.
The industry secrets section is refreshingly cynical, exposing deceptive ads, vague scientifically proven claims, the lack of government oversight on supplements, and the ineffectiveness of natural products.
Is there an internal contradiction here between warning against secrets and promising them?
This is indeed a striking internal contradiction, and it speaks to the persuasive strategies often employed even by well-intentioned guides. On one hand, the text rightly deconstructs the deceptive marketing of the weight loss industry, warning against the allure of secrets, quick fixes, and unsubstantiated claims. This is a commendable and necessary critique. But the secrets of staying healthy, it implicitly capitalizes on the very psychological appeal it warns against. It suggests that this guide possesses the true secrets, distinguishing itself from the fraudulent ones.
Finally, the conclusion reiterates that you don't need to buy into some crazy diet, machinery, or drinks. It emphasizes changing diet, activity levels, and mental health. Overall, would you say this guide is effective in its goal, or does it leave significant gaps or introduce new confusions despite its good intentions?
In its essence, the guide delivers a fundamentally sound message. Sustainable weight loss and health are achieved through consistent, evidence-based lifestyle changes, not quick fixes or expensive gimmicks. Its strength lies in debunking industry myths and promoting a holistic view that includes physical activity, balanced nutrition, mental health, and social support. However, its effectiveness is somewhat hampered by inconsistencies and reliance on some outdated information. The conflicting stance on secrets, the potentially rigid advice on meal frequency and fat intake, and the lack of nuance regarding various fasting protocols are notable weaknesses.
While it correctly identifies many contributing factors to weight gain and offers valuable warnings, it occasionally falls into the trap of oversimplification or presenting certain guidelines as universally applicable truths, which might lead some readers to discard genuinely helpful strategies or become frustrated if the prescribed way doesn't perfectly align with their individual needs or modern scientific understanding. It's a well-intentioned guide that could benefit from a more rigorous scientific update and a consistent editorial voice.